The next morning, I found myself standing in front of the cabinet where I kept my dream jar. It was just an old mason jar, fogged with fingerprints and dust, half hidden behind the flour tin. Inside were folded bills, small, crinkled, and hard-earned. I had started it years ago after James passed. Every time I chose to save instead of spend, I'd slip the cash in. A few dollars here, a 10 there. Little bits of hope I could touch. Back then, I told myself it was for something beautiful, something that would make all the quiet sacrifices worth it. That something had been this trip. But now, as the sunlight hit the glass, I realized maybe the dream itself hadn't been wrong, just the people I'd built it around. I carried the jar to the kitchen table and sat down. The room smelled faintly of lavender, the same scent as the candle I'd meant to burn by the sea. I ran my fingers over the jar's lid and whispered, "James, maybe this dream still has a purpose, just a new direction." I thought about how it all began. 3 years of planning, saving, imagining. When I retired, I needed something to look forward to, something that felt like love in motion. That's when Hawaii became my goal. James and I had honeymooned there when we were 24. We were broke, sunburned, and blissfully happy. He used to joke that the ocean looked jealous of me because I shimmered brighter. I smiled at the memory, even through the ache. I'd wanted my family to feel that joy, the closeness, the laughter, the simplicity of just being together. So I started saving. I stopped my cable subscription. I wore sweaters instead of turning the heat up. I even took online tutoring jobs, teaching grammar to teenagers halfway across the world while the clock struck midnight in my kitchen. Every dollar had been a seed of love planted in silence. And for what? So my son's wife could erase me with one polite text. The shame flickered again, but this time it didn't stay. It turned into something else resolve. I pulled out my old notebook, the one filled with sticky notes and travel plans. On the first page, I crossed out family trip and wrote something new. The second chance journey. This wouldn't be for them anymore. It would be for women who knew what it felt like to give everything and still be unseen. I turned the jar upside down. The bills spilled out across the table like fallen leaves. The sound was small but powerful. That was the sound of taking back control. I counted slowly. Not for the money, but for the memory, every single note carrying the weight of nights I'd gone without. And with every count, I felt lighter. The trip wasn't canceled. It had simply changed guests. That night, I slept better than I had in months. For the first time, I wasn't planning something for anyone else. I was planning it with purpose. They thought they'd taken away my dream, but they'd only cleared the space for me to build a better one. They thought the story ended with a frozen account, but they hadn't seen what happens when a forgotten woman starts dreaming again.